Yes, young lady.
Me? Science is someone who's really smart and doesn't watch TV.
Doesn't watch TV. Well, there's people in the jungles don't watch TV, but I don't think that makes them a scientist. What else? Young lady in the blue.
We do experiments.
Experiments. Very good. What is an experiment?
Like a creation or something like that.
Okay, they do discover things. That's very good. Very good. Yes, young man.
They have crazy hair.
They have crazy hair? Sometimes they do. Not always. Okay, let me tell you what a scientist is. A scientist is a special field where you go to college and you learn special things. You learn special things. You probably all take science class at school already. And you probably all take math class. And scientists use a lot of mathematics. Math and science, they go hand in hand. They're very close together. But scientists make observations about the world around us and how things work and what makes things work. And God's universe, how God's created things, and they try to figure it out and expect and run calculations and figure out what's going to happen. Well, my name is Professor Arby, and Miss Debbie asked me to come and facilitate for the next few weeks, so I'll be here for a few weeks. And we're not really going to have any time for questions. You're going to have to save your questions for the end. So if I ask for questions, then you may raise your hand. But otherwise, please don't disrupt because we need to get through this, okay? I always loved science. Even as someone your age, maybe even younger, I loved science. I did crazy experiments in the garage. I build things. I take things apart, try to figure out what makes them work. Always loved science. When I went to college, it was kind of easy for me to figure out what I wanted to do. I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do, but I know whatever it is, it's got to have to do with science because I like science. Anyone in here like science class? You do. Science is great. You can learn so much about the world around us. Okay, enough of that. Let's get started with some science stuff. I wanted to talk to you about a concept. I kind of got to thinking, it was like, what can I do that the kids would be interested in? So I came up with the idea of the concept of power and how God is very powerful. Now, how many of you have an electronic device at home, say an iPod or MP3 player, maybe a radio? Okay. Now, these electronic devices, some of them plug into the wall, but some of them are portable. Now, if you have a portable device, what makes it work? Yes? Batteries. What's a battery? Yes? Very good. It's a little portable device to let us carry electricity around. And that's kind of neat. Now, batteries come in all different sizes. Does anybody know what makes a battery work? Now, you got to be kind of a little bit careful with this because batteries do have acid in them. So this is something that if you decide you want to do it, you have to have a parent help you. But when I was a kid, I liked to take stuff apart. And I remember one time I took a battery apart and I had to see what was inside. Now, what happens, and I'll warn you now, don't try it because you're going to get burned and you don't want to do that. But I was not so smart when I was a kid. And I have the scars to prove it. But what I found out, inside of a battery, you have two different kinds of metal. And in between these pieces of metal, there is this paste that looks like gluey kind of stuff. And it's actually called an electrolyte. It's a chemical that creates a chemical reaction between the two dissimilar metals and causes electricity, causes the flow of electrons. Now, this is not a science class, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time dealing with the details of how this works. If anybody has any questions or wants to know more about it, I'd love to talk about science, and at the end, I'll gladly tell you everything I know about batteries. But the thing that makes batteries work inside them, ultimately, is these little teensy, 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 tiny things, so small that even the best scientists in the world cannot see it. Do you know what I'm talking about? What? Electrons. Very good. Anybody know what an electron is? Yes. Well, electrons actually have a negative charge, but atoms do have both positive and negative charge. The positive charge are called protons. The negative charge are called electrons. And so there's these tiny little itsy-bitsy little things, so small that you can't see them under the best microscope in the world. These things called electrons. And they're everywhere. Everything in the world is made up of atoms. All atoms have electrons in them. So everything is made of these teensy tiny little particles. Well, when you cause these electrons to organize themselves and move in a particular direction, that flow of electrons is called electricity. Well, what's electricity? Well, I'm the kind of person that I have a real hard time visualizing things that I can't see. And when somebody tells me about these electrons, these tiny little things that you can't see them, but it's like, trust us, they're there. It's like, I like proof. I like the question proving. Because I don't take anybody's word for it. I want to see proof. Well, as a scientist, I have to devise an experiment. That's what scientists do. When you want to prove something, you set up an experiment. Try it. Well, batteries, when I was a kid, I learned this trick. And let me show you here. We have brand new 9-volt batteries. Now, batteries come in different sizes, but these are 9-volt batteries. Now, the question is, just because I open this package and I see I have a brand new battery, how will I know it's a good battery? But, well, we'll get to that in a minute. But yes. Pardon? Okay, yeah. Well, you can inspect it. You can do an optical visual inspection. You can look and say, well, I don't see the acid leaking out. There's no corrosion on it. That's a good sign. But sometimes bad batteries don't have corrosion on them. Any other ideas? Well, you can touch it and feel its temperature, but I don't really... Actually, a good battery is normal temperature, so I don't feel any difference. Pardon? Yeah, sometimes if the battery goes bad, you can have a problem. Yes? Very good. That's what I was looking for. You can get an electronic device. There's another way. Scientists have developed a device called a voltmeter. And we can take this meter and we can put it on the proper setting. And what I can do is take these two leads, and if I put one on the positive and I put the other on the negative, I can look at the meter and it gives me a number. This says 9.59 volts. So I can measure exactly how much electricity is in there.